Tobe Hooper's back, this time with a remake, Invaders from Mars. Now, I haven't seen the original from 1953, but after hearing Stan Winston did the effects for this one, I jumped right to it. And Karen Black's the star. This is gonna be a fun movie. After a pretty long intro, listing each actor one by one, the movie finally begins. We meet David and his father, George, who are out stargazing, seeing some real good meteors when Mom comes in to tell him it's time to go to bed.
It's time for bed.
But before getting tucked in for the night, George gives his son a very special penny. What a nerd, stargazing and coin collecting.
Get under the covers. Come on.
David wakes up in the middle of the night from a thunderstorm and has a look outside, seeing a UFO. He wakes up his parents, who tell him it was just ball lightning, which I'm pretty sure is more rare than a UFO. But David knows what he saw. That was no ball lightning.
I bet it was ball lightning.
No, Dad, I know what ball lightning is. It wasn't that.
In the morning, Dad comes in looking pretty disheveled. He went to the sand pit behind their house, where David saw the alien ship land, and now he's different. For one thing, he has a mark on the back of his neck. George wants to show his son something over the hill, but lucky for him, the bus comes to pick him up, just in time. At school, David gets into trouble and cuts his finger. So his teacher, Miss McKelch, takes him to the school nurse, Linda, who's played by Karen Black. David is actually Black's real-life son, so it's kind of cool to see them work together.
I think you'll live.
After school, David comes home, but his dad's missing. Hours go by, and they finally decide it's time to call the cops, who do have a look around. But then, out of nowhere, George pops up with a guy named Ed. He's some telephone switch operator or something, and he's acting just like George. Heck, after looking over the hill, even the cops are acting strange.
Everything's fine now.
And that night, David spots his own mother going up over the hill. That's not good. Now, I'm not so sure what's happening behind the house, but whatever it is, it makes his mom burn the bacon. What a waste. At school, things aren't that much better. David spies his teacher chowing down on a frog. He runs away and makes it to Linda, who actually hears him out. But first, he checks the back of her neck, just in case. After he tells his story, she laughs at him, naturally.
Eating a frog?
But once she sees that Mrs. McKelch has the same mark on the back of her neck, and that she really wants David for some reason, Linda starts to believe him. David sneaks out the back window and hides out in the parking lot. He's about to be spotted, so he jumps inside a random van, which just so happens to be Mrs. McKelch's van. Oops! She drives to the sand pit, and David actually manages to get out unseen. He follows her down into some tunnels inside the alien ship, which does look pretty cool, with some, testicular-looking aliens. There's some weird stuff going on here. Krang from the Ninja Turtles comes out of the wall.
I've heard him going out of your skull, but you take the cake!
Mrs. McKelch speaks to it in vowels. What is happening here? Well, eventually David gets caught. He takes off running and makes his escape outside, where Linda picks him up.
Huge, ugly, slimy, giant Mr. Potato Head.
They both go back to see what's up, and wouldn't you know it, the tunnels have all been sealed shut. But there are some men coming in to investigate. They do some metal detecting, and then get sucked right in. More people for the aliens to impersonate. But at least Linda saw this, so she knows David isn't crazy. They try to call the cops, but remember, they're in on it now too. So they end up hiding out in the school's boiler room. But they aren't very good at hiding, and the cops find them right away. It's not looking good. But then, a stroke of luck. A giant alien drill bores its way up through the ground, and they can make their escape. Now, they know they need some help. But who? Well, how about the Marines? There just so happens to be a base in town, and the two civilians get to talk to General Wilson. I feel like he would have more important things to do than talk to these two, especially because they're launching a rocket in a couple hours, but they do get to meet with him. As they're escorted in, they see the two guys who got sucked under in the sand. That can't be good. I wonder how many of them are working on the base. They talk to the general, they tell him their story, and for some reason, he actually believes them. NASA did a report that there was a ship spotted that went under the radar, but still, would you believe this kid's story? Wilson asks to talk to the two men in orange, saying it's just routine. But as soon as he asks about Copper Hill, they pull out their guns. The good guys jump into action and apprehend him. Then, at gunpoint, Wilson asks what the heck is going on here. They're just about to talk when they freak out and die. The thing in the back of their neck must have killed them, but at least everyone saw that. Outside, the bad guys rig up a truck to explode and start driving it towards the rocket launch pad, where it collides and blows up. The general asks David to take them to the sand pit, and they split up. Some go to the pit, and the others go to the school to see that tunnel that was dug earlier. The group at the school have the first encounter with the potato heads. At first, they try to communicate with them, and it looks like that might actually be working. Until it doesn't. They vaporize one of our men, so now we can open fire, taking both of the aliens out. It's good to know that they can be killed with bullets. Back at the sand pit, David runs smack dab into the middle of it, wanting to get sucked down to save his parents. There's nothing they can do for him now, so the military sets some charges and blow up the entrance to the ship. David wakes up inside just in time to see another poor schmuck get probed. And it looks like Linda's next. He runs to Krang and pleads with him to stop all this, save his family and Linda. But it's too late, so David punches him. Why not? It's not like he can hit back. David runs away, and the aliens somehow accidentally eat Mrs. McKelch. That's pretty funny. Even the potato head thinks so. The general makes it to David, and he tells them about Linda, so they rush over to help save her. They open fire on Krang, electricity goes all over the place, and it's mass chaos for a bit. Until, finally, Krang retreats, and all the aliens are dead. The military guys set a bomb with a timer for 5 minutes and start heading out of there. But when they make it to the exit, it's been sealed off. Luckily, they have one of the aliens' weapons laying right there. But how do you power it? Well, earlier they discovered the ship runs on copper, so they just need to find some copper.
Great Scott, hasn't anybody got a penny?
And remember, David's a big coin collecting nerd. He's got that penny his dad gave him. They fire up the weapon and blast their way out of there. Everyone runs out, but David is stopped by his parents, who want him to stay. He takes off with his parents chasing him, and the UFO rises in the background. As it flies off, the bomb blows up and it's blasted into 1,000,000 pieces. With the aliens no longer controlling them, David's parents are free, and everyone can live happily ever after. But wait, it was all just a dream. Oh, come on, that old gag? Well, maybe it wasn't a dream. but a premonition. And that was Invaders from Mars. The highlight of the movie is, without a doubt, the creature effects. The aliens look so goofy, yet cool. Truly original, and something that could only come out of Stan Winston's mind. I really like that Karen Black got to work with her son. It's gotta be easier to act with your mom than a complete stranger. But that being said, it wasn't her best performance, and he did get annoying at times. You can tell that there was money and talent put into this, but still, something just feels off. Maybe they're trying to make it a big budget B movie. Maybe we didn't need another remake of a 50s alien creature feature at all. One thing that's noticeable is the tone. Were they trying to make a fun kids movie or a scary alien movie? Whatever it is, Invaders from Mars is worth a watch once, then put it on your shelf. I give it 2 Mr. Potato Head aliens out of 4.